Okay, you gotta do it. You gotta do a speed reading now.
8 o'clock.
Uh,
93. Oh, Ernie, tomorrow night we have to do it 8:30 because there's another Zoom for another prospective
for Rabbi Kesselman. Rabbi Kesselman
Okay,
tomorrow.
fine.
Okay.
So 8:30 tomorrow
8:30.
is fine.
Okay, good.
Okay, we're on Sadi Gimel. Ma tamei shesipik yadulasos ve'naose. A tamei is physically present. It's just the Torah doesn't give him a reshus to do it because he's tamei. Av derech rechoka. So somebody who's in Jordan, and even if he could get back in time to eat the korban pesach at night, nami shesipik yadulasos ve'naose compares to the tamei. So it's sort of exeris hakasu. But even though maybe he could send a shaliach and then show up at night, once he's nidche, he's nidche. That's the sheet of Rav Sheshes. Rav Nachman al-Achar b'kiva tamei. The only reason that the opinions like that is because Rabbi Kiva is consistent in his general opinion. The Ksav ein shechtim v'zorkin al tamei sheretz, right? If somebody is tamei sheretz on erev Pesach, that night he'd be able to eat. But Rabbi Kiva holds, since right now he's not Roy, he has to go to Pesach Sheni. So similar, since the guy who is in Jordan, even though he could drive and get back to Shalim by nightfall, since he's not there at the time of Shchit and Zrika, he's Nidche the Pesach Sheni. That's B'vana, but I hold like Commander Shechtim is Rakal Tommy Sheretz, that you're allowed to do the Shchit and the Zrika on somebody who's Tommy Sheretz, since tonight he's going to be able to eat. Same thing, if he's in Jordan, even though right now he's not physically here, physically he'll get here by tonight, that's enough. That's the machlokas between Rav Nachman and Rav Sheshes. Ton Rabbanon, Elu she'oisen es hasheni. The Brisa says the following people do Pesach Sheni. Hazavim v'azavois, if they were Zav on Pesach Rishon, b'mitzoyroin, if they were Tumas Mitzoyra, b'mitzoyros, female, the Nidos, b'ale Nidos, the women were Nidos, the people had relations with them, v'ayoldois, women who give birth, or somebody who is shoygeg, he doesn't know that today is Yod Dalmas, or Anusim, it was a car accident. Ve'hamezidin, somebody who b'mezid doesn't do Pesach Rishon, and v'tamei, somebody who's tamei, v'shahaya b'derech rechoka, if they were in China. All of these cases, they are chayiv to do Pesach Sheni. In Kain Lama Nemer Tamei. Well, why then? It seems like for any reason that you can't do Pesach Rishon, you're allowed to have Pesach Sheni. So what was the point of the Torah telling us Tumah? So the Iboil Mevid Berishon Lashav Kinam. We have to be told Tumah, because if he, let's say he wants to do it, we don't allow him to do it because the Tomei is not permitted to do Pesach Rishon. Well, if you're telling me that for any reason you're pushed to Pesach Sheni, and now you've explained to me why the Torah had to tell me Tumah, then why did it have to tell me going to China? So to tell you, Lepoitrum and Akoris, if you are out of town and you can't make it back in town, so you might think it's in some way you are negligent. No, you're not negligent. You're still considered an onus, and you were pushed to Pesach Sheni, and you don't get cards. Kimandomer Hurtza, like Rav Nachman, who said that if you send it with a shaliach, you'd be potter. Okay, so the Baraisa talked about nidos or yoldos. So the Gemara says, I don't understand, are pushed to Pesach Sheni. So the Gemara says, the Isha Basheni Mim Chayva, is a woman obligated in Pesach Sheni Vatanya? Lo yu oisnes Hasheni elatome nefesh r'shai b'derech chok. I might think that the only people who do Pesach Sheni are somebody who during Pesach Rishon was tamei or was in China. So Zavin u'mitzayroin, Uvoale nidos minayin. These are all men. A zav, a mitzora, someone who had relations with the nida. Talmud Lomer ish. So you see, women are not included in Pesach Sheni. So loy kasha harab yoisi. The baraisa that says women are included is according to Rabbi Yosi that you do shecht for women on Pesach Sheni. We're going to have this machlokas soon. We'll see the sheet of Rabbi Yosi. Harabi Rab Shimon, who says that there is no chiyuv for women in Pesach Sheni. The Rambam says, "Kol mishalo yochel," that they call Tam shulak with korban. For any reason, can't do korban Pesach Rishon, makriv Pesach Sheni. You are makriv Pesach Sheni. Ton Rabban. Now, it's not so pashut. There's certain averis that if you miss Pesach Rishon, you might have certain punishments, even though you have Pesach Sheni. So the Brisa says, Chayiv Kores Ala Rishon. The Chayiv Kores Ala Sheni Divrei. Somebody who b'mezi did not do Pesach Rishon, and he does not do Pesach Sheni, he's Chayiv Kores for both on the Pesach Rishon and both for the Pesach Sheni. Rav Nosson Omer Chayiv Kores Ala Rishon or Potter Ala Sheni. Rav Nosson says somebody was mazid and didn't do Pesach Rishon b'mezid, didn't do Pesach Sheni b'mezid. You're only Chayiv one Kores for Pesach Rishon. Never says Kores by Pesach Sheni. Rav Chanan ben Akavya Omer, Afal Rishon and Chayiv Kores Elim Ken Lo Asas Hashem. Rav Chananya says, you know what? I disagree with Rebbe that even on the first one, you're not Chayiv Kores only if you were b'mezid, didn't do Pesach Sheni. If you did Pesach Sheni, it patters you from Kores, even if b'mezid you didn't bring Pesach Rishon. So it's a three-way machlokas. V'oz dula tamayu. They're consistent with their svars, the Tana. Gershon is garbage shnei psachim. You have a non-Jew who, when Pesach Rishon came along, he was a non-Jew. And then he became a Jew, let's say the first day of Iyar. And so by when Tesvav Iyar rolls around, he now is a Jew, Pesach Sheni. Or, Kotten Shehigla ben Shnei Psachim. A bar mitzvah boy becomes bar mitzvah 2 weeks after Pesach Rishon. He was not bar mitzvah Pesach Rishon, but he's bar mitzvah Pesach Sheni. So the Tanakama says, Chayiv Lasos Pesach Sheni Divrei Rebbe. According to Rebbe, Pesach Sheni is its own holiday. It has nothing to do whether you were a mechuyev on Pesach Rishon. And therefore, it's like a tashlumin. And therefore, for example, if you're not roy on Pesach Rishon, there's no tashlumin for you. Rebbe says no. Pesach Sheni is its own yontif. Rav Nosson Oimar, he says no. Kol shezokik leRishon zokik l'sheni. If you were fit to do Pesach Rishon, then you have Pesach Sheni. Kol shein zokik l'Rishon zokik l'sheni. So according to Rav Nosson, a non-Jew who then became Jewish, or bar mitzvah boy was not bar mitzvah Pesach Rishon, has nothing to do with Pesach Sheni because they were not chayiv Pesach Rishon. But my kamifli, what is at the yesod of their machlokas? Rabbi Savar Sheni regular of the Atzmah. Pesach Sheni is not a tashlumin. It's a yontif on its own right. And therefore, when Tesvav Iyar comes, so the new bar mitzvah boy or the ger is chayiv in Pesach Sheni. It's nothing to do whether they were mechuyev on Pesach Rishon or not. Rav Nosson said, no, Sheni tashlumin derishonu. Sheni is a makeup. And tikkun l'rishon lo maskin lei. And therefore, for these people, they don't need a tikkun for the rishon because they're not chayiv on the rishon. So that means if Pesach Rishon, he couldn't do it because he was onus. So he does the Sheni. But it doesn't fix what happened on the first. if a person was amazing and didn't do the Rishon, he gets his own kares for that. It's not that if he did the second, he covers the Rishon. Rishon is the Rishon, the Sheni is the Sheni. And the third sheet of Rav Chananya ben Akav Yisrael, Sheni Takanta the Rishon. Rav Chananya, who's the one who said that even if you were mazid by Pesach Rishon, if you did Pesach Sheni, it covers you for Pesach Rishon. Because it's a complete takana, even for Pesach Rishon. And therefore it cleans you up, and therefore protects you from kares for Pesach Rishon. Ushloshton Mikra Chadarshu, all three of them learned their halach from the same pasuk. It says, Vayisha Sherhu Tahor, Uvederech Lo Haya, and who doesn't do the, right? If somebody was Tahor Pesach Rishon, he wasn't in China, and he didn't do, right? And the pasuk says, V'chadala Sota Pesach, he didn't do the Korban Pesach, V'nichrasa Nefesh Hayim Me'ameh, he will have kares. Ki korban Hashem lo yikriv b'moado. He does not makriv at its right time. Cheto yisaha ishahu. That man will bear his sin. Rebbe saw Rav Chadala says a Pesach v'nichus. When it says that he didn't do the Pesach in the Rishon, he gets kares. The law of Ad Rishon. Since he didn't do it Rishon, he gets kares. And inami korban Hashem lo yikriv b'moado. That's b'sheni. And v'nichrasa, that means not doing the korban when he was supposed to, which refers to Pesach Sheni. Still, he gets kares. But how do you know that when it says cheto yisod refers to kares? So Rebbe has a complicated limud. He learns it out. There was a question because the pasuk says in Bamidbar Tesvav, "V'hanefesh asher taseh biyad ramah." Mina Ezrachu Mina Ger, Es Hashem Hu Megadev, V'nichras HaNefesh Ahi Mekervama. So it wasn't clear what is the meaning of Megadev. So Rebbe held Megadev meant you cursed Hashem's name. Uksiv b'mavarchas Hashem v'nasa cheto. It says that he shall bear his sin. The Gamar Hai Cheto Dehach Mecheto Dehasa. Here it says the same thing. The Nasa Cheton talks about kares. Malahol and kares of Kanami kares. So just like over there, it's kares, here it's kares as well. Rav Nasan Sover Chadalah says a Pesach v'nichrasa. The ha-ki is Lashon Dahahu, meaning hare. That means that the key, because he Vachi Karachmanat. The ha Korban Hashem lo yikru madarishon. You know what? It's because he didn't be the, he was. When it says Korban Hashem lo yikru moado, it's not referring to Pesach Sheni. It's referring to Pesach Rishon. The whole pasuk is Pesach Rishon. So therefore, there's only kares for Pesach Rishon. So what does Rav Nosson do? Chai Cheto Yisam Mayav. Because Ksara Megadev is Lavman Mavarchas Hashem. Megadev is a general statement for people where it's not clear. It's any aver that you do b'mezi, for example, but it's not necessarily means cursed Hashem. Means if you do one of these averos b'mezid, you get cards. So from Megadev Lavan Mavarchas Hashem. The Gomer Hai Cheto Da'asam Hai Cheto Da'acham. Ma'acha Kares Ahaf Hasam Kares. So if you do that aver b'mezid, you also get cards. It's learned from you. Now, what's the third time? From Chanani ben Akiva Sovar. V'chadal Lasos a Pesach v'nichrasa depends. I Korban Hashem lo yikrim muado b'sheni. It means if he does not do the tashlumin on Pesach Sheni, he doesn't correct the fact that he didn't do Pesach Rishon, then v'haychato yisah. So my of it, like Darman Hilkach, hazy bazovazeh devar chayiv. Comes out that there's no machlokas between any of these mandomim. If he was a mazid by the first, mazid by the second, everyone owes your chayiv kares. For both. Shogag bazovazeh devar kol potter. He's a shogeg on the first, shogeg on the second. There's no kares at all. Hazy berishon b'shogeg b'sheni. He was a mazid berishon, but let's say he became a shogeg for the second. So it does make a difference for Rabbi Rav Nosson. They held that if you didn't, it's your responsibility. If you can't correct yourself, you're going to get kares. The Rabbi Rav Nosson l'chayv. However, shogag barishon hazy b'sheni. So since Rebbe learned that the pasuk for Koretz refers to Sheni as well, and he was Mezid b'Sheni, so the Rebbe Chayiv Koretz at least for Sheni. But Rav Nosson, Rav Chanan give you a potter. However, the Rambam Paskin is very interesting here. Misha Shogag Oinenas Velohikriv Pesach Rishon. Even by accident, the person didn't makriv Pesach Rishon. If a person was mezi by Pesach Sheni, Chayiv Koretz. If he's mezi by Pesach Rishon, and he was a shogeg by Pesach Sheni, also Chayiv Koretz. He's also like Rebbe. So he's Chayiv Koretz al Rishon v'A Sheni, because Rambam Paskin's like Rebbe. We also paskin the Rambam that a cotton shehigdil or gershon is gayer by Pesach Rishon l'Sheni, they are chayiv to do Pesach Sheni. If it was mezi for Pesach Rishon l'Sheni, it's chayiv koretz for both. If he's shogeg for both, he's potter from koretz. If he's mezi by Pesach Rishon, shogeg Pesach Sheni, we also hold like Rabbi that you're chayiv koretz. Okay. What's considered that you're far away? So minamodiim v'lachutz, which is going to see it's 15 mil. If you find yourself 15 mil outside Yerushalayim, kvidas l'chol ruach, a radius of 15 mil. Di Rabbi Akiva, because that's the distance between Modi'im, which was the name of a place in Yerushalayim. As long as you're outside the Azor, that's what you call Derech Rechoka. We paskin that it's 15 mil. Rabbi Yossi also said it's outside of the Azor. That from Modi'im to Shalayim is 15 mil. Asara parsos, which is 40 mil. One parsa is 4 mil. So 10 parsos is 40 mil. So a person can walk in a day, the Gemara is going to show us 40 mil. From the alos till nates, person can walk 5 mil. From the sunset until the stars come out, right? It's about an hour. You can go 5 mil. Pashalot plus. So from the 12 hours or so between sunrise and sunset, you can do 30. 15 in the morning, right? From 6 to the 6 hours, from 6 to noon. From noon until 6, you can go another 15. And what's considered that you're far away? You cannot make it in time for the Shchita's Korban Pesach. What's this? In Olan, how do you know this? By Lot.
They're not there yet.
Right? When Alos HaShachar, the Malachim told him, let's get out of town. Uksiv HaShemesh Yatsa, there was Neitzachama, the Lot Bat Zoara. Lot made it to Zoar. They left by Alos HaShachar, and they got to Zoar by Neitz. And it was 5 mil, the distance from Stone to Tzoar. That's how we know that a person can walk 5 mil in that period of time. Okay, we'll stop here. And we'll start our Navi Shir. Shkoyach, everybody.
Okay, give me
Go ahead.
3